It was a successful launch for the Orlando Apollos, a 40-6 blowout of the Atlanta Legends. Welcome to Orlando Apollos football with head coach Steve Spurrier. I'm Christian Brewy. He's Joe Kepner, and we all know the head ball coach here.
Yes, we do. Coach, welcome. And before we get to the highlights, what were your initial thoughts on the game, the environment, the result, and everything that happened Saturday night?
Joe and Christian, good to be with you guys, and nice to have this show to show to all of our Apollo fans all over Orlando, Central Florida, and so forth. But it was a good game, no question about it. Our defense was fantastic, and we sort of thought we had a good defense, and now I think everybody knows. Now, how good Atlanta is, we got to wait and see, and how good we are, we got to wait and see. But obviously, a very successful start. A lot of guys played very well. Offense, defense, Garrett Gilbert, our quarterback, threw a lot of good balls here and there, and I think he can even play better. His first game he's ever started as a pro, and we gave him a game ball. Terrence Garvin, our linebacker, had a game of his life maybe. Had 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. I think led the team in tackles also. Our defensive players really played super, and if we're going to have that big year we all hope for, we all got to keep improving a little bit as we go.
All right, let's take a look at all of the highlights. 20,000 plus on hand at Spectrum Stadium. Opening play of the game, Coach, you go for it. Garrett Gilbert gears it out to Marvin Bracey Williams. Was that in the cards from the start when you got the job?
Well, it was in the cards, so we didn't quite run the pattern as well as we had hoped. Bracey's the fastest guy on the team, and he sort of got a little bit too inside. And Garrett actually threw it where he was supposed to, but they had it covered. We didn't run it as well as we could have. But we wanted to launch one, as you say, first play of the game, and we thought the other team may turn down the choice of having the ball or not. So we launched it, but we didn't execute it.
All right, let's go to the second quarter. This is where the scoring started for the Apollos. Garrett Gilbert, a beautiful ball across the middle to Jalen Marshall. Originally ruled incomplete. Coach, you got the review. It worked out your way, and you get the touchdown.
Yeah, up top, they were all yelling. He caught it, and he did. He came down with it, and touchdown. He's on the ground, and, he came out a little late. But that's touchdown right there, and then it came out late, so the review gave us the touchdown. Jalen Marshall is really a good player that he actually won it through the touchdown also. So he had the first TD reception in Alliance history, and Garrett threw a nice ball there. Did a good job of looking off the safety just a bit and sneaking it in there.
All right, let's go to the defensive side of the football. You talked about Terrence Garvin earlier, the 2 interceptions. This was his first. Bob Sanders dials up the blitz. You saw Jerome Coupland come up there in the middle, and Garvin tricked him and makes the play.
Yeah, Terrence was one of our captains, actually, along with Garrett for the game. And he sort of read quarterback's eyes and broke on it and made the play.
All right, next drive, 4 plays later, you get the ball back, and then you run one in from a yard out. Davion Smith, you got 3 good running backs, it looks like.
Yeah, they all played well. Dearness catches a touchdown pass. I think we'll see a little later here. Akeem Hunt. And we'll probably play all 3 of them through the course of the season.
All right, let's get back to that defense after that touchdown made it 16-3 Apollos. 3 sacks by the Apollos defense. This one from Ryan Davis, a former Jacksonville Jaguar.
Yeah, I tell you what, Ryan had an excellent game, had the first sack. Our defensive tackles really played well. Josh Banks, Leon Orr, and Anthony Moten. When you got strong guys in the middle, Christian, it really makes the defense.
Then with under a minute to go in the half, this is the play everyone's talking about. The Orlando special is what they're calling it. Jalen Marshall to Garrett Gilbert for the touchdown. Makes it 22-3 at the half.
Yeah, what's sort of ironic about that play, Christian, we ran it to South Carolina in the Capital One Bowl against Wisconsin, and Bruce Ellington executed it almost exactly the same way. Connor hands off, messes around a little bit, like Garrett does right here, acts like he's running with it, and then he's his own out, and we hit it for a touchdown in that game, and we hit another one here in Orlando. So maybe that should be called the Orlando special right there.
And you're up 19 at the half. You get into the locker room. What do you tell these guys after? They had to feel pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, but same thing you always tell your team. Got to keep playing. You can lose a game and be ahead. We all know that. So you just got to encourage your guys not to get caught up with what the score is. You just, try to emphasize, got to play the entire game. And when it's over, we'll look up the scoreboard and hopefully we'll be in good shape. And our guys did that. So really proud. There was no messing around, no lackadaisical effort. The effort was really good, I think, the entire game.
And things slowed down a little bit in the third quarter. Just the one field goal. Was that a product of both teams just making the right adjustments? Guys coming out a little flat? What happened there?
Well, our defense played well. I think we had a couple of drives and messed up here and there and had to kick a couple of field goals. And so, yeah, offensively, we weren't like 40 points. The defense scored one and also set us up, I think, once or twice. And then Atlanta went for that 4th and 1 with 25 seconds left, and we were able to get a touchdown right before the first half that was, I think, crucial also.
And you made sure the fans had some fun in the fourth quarter, though. Let's take a look at that. Garrett Gilbert gets the running backs involved in the passing game here. Dearness Johnson, like you mentioned earlier, USF product hauls in the 33-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that was a wonderful play by Dearness, and Garrett stayed with him. We thought maybe they'd put a linebacker out there to cover him, but they left the defensive back, and the DB, I don't know what he was doing, but he let Ernest go right by him, and Garrett threw it to him, and he sort of shook off a couple of guys and tried it into the end zone there.
And you had a couple two-point conversions that failed. You'll work on those in practice, though,
well, we work on them all the time, but, yeah, we didn't execute them worth the flip. Bad coaching, I call that.
Ensuing Atlanta drive, though, Matt Sims intercepted for the second time. Terrence Garvin, like you said, having the game of his life. 11 tackles, 2 interceptions. This one goes back for the 51-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I thought, the quarterback had an angle on him, but that didn't disturb Terrence too much. He went right on in with it. And that was some play there for a linebacker, yeah.
And the running game, you had some guys get going a little bit here. Akeem Hunt, 31-yard run. He led the team in rushing, 10 carries, 73 yards. Did you feel good about the balance of the attack?
Yeah, they ran well. David Reeves coaches those running backs, and I like the way we got forward. We're sort of splitting defenders and always falling forward with good body lean. So all three of those guys had some nice runs. We actually averaged, I think, around 5 yards a carry. So we ran the ball fairly decently. We've only had about 52 plays in the game. That clock keeps moving, as we know. So we'll probably have a few more plays as we go through the seasons per game.
And you're bragging on your defense all day here for good reason. We'll end with a play from them. Aaron Murray's pass intercepted by Bryce Kennedy. Apollos win 40-6, and Spurrier now 6-0 in his first games as a head coach. Overall, I'm sure you're feeling pretty good about all that.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I was thinking about that a little bit. I would hate to be 5-1. All of us would hate to be 0-1 as Apollos. Yeah, I've been fortunate, a lot of opening games, and sort of interesting. Shane Matthews coached 2 of my opening games, one at Florida and the one at the Washington Redskins also. So Shane's got us 2-0 in openers also.
Well, it's Garrett Gilbert. Let's talk about you bring up Shane Matthews, the quarterback. What was it that made him so effective? 15 to 25, I think the passer rating was up over 116. What did you really like that you saw?
Garrett's a good passer. He's an excellent passer. The ball comes out of his hand, usually with a pretty nice spiral, and so it's catchable. And I don't know if we had a drop by the receivers, and that's important. There's there's guys that sometimes throw a hard ball to catch. So Garrett throws a good, sharp spiral, and our guys caught just about everything. So we got some guys open. He threw it where he was supposed to and did a super job. Now we got to build on it, and instead of 15 of 25, maybe 20 of 25 the next time.
And it helps that you didn't have to just rely on him. Very balanced attack, 27 passes, 25 runs. Was that the plan all along, or did it just work out that way?
Well, it just worked out that way, but we do hope it ends up that way most games. But we want to call our ball plays, as you say. We got a stack of them, and that's what play callers are supposed to do. Hey, this is a game plan. Let's don't go in the locker room and say, man, I wish I'd called this one or that one. And in fact, the first touchdown that Jalen Marshall called there, I think we put that play in Wednesday, and the guys executed it pretty close to perfection.
How good was the defense? I know you've touched on it quite a bit when we looked at the highlights, but was it Bob Sanders putting them in the right position, or you just got guys that can run and hit?
Well, it's Bob Sanders to start with, putting them in position where they can use their talent. Yeah. And we have a talented bunch. And again, we don't know how good Atlanta is, so we got to keep this win a bit under control and try to play better against San Antonio this coming week.
All right, Steve Spurrier, we got much more coming up with him in the second act of our show. We're going to take a look at the Orlando special, a deeper look at that play and what made it work. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
February. Let's go, Apollo. Let's go.
It's a touchdown, Orlando.
Take aim this February.
And they can't stop us. Hold it in your chest and go in.
Super Bowl doesn't end this February. It all starts now.
Head ball coach Steve Spurrier and the Orlando Apollos return to UCF Spectrum Stadium on Saturday, February 23rd at 8 p.m. Tickets on sale now at orlandoapollos.com or ticketmaster.com.